being a writer and having a career in writing is a lot of sacrifice. You have to figure out what do you really want out of this. If you want to give yourself a better chance of selling books, then it's about writing commercial books.
You signed with Penguin for 2 books.
For 2 books and Scholastic for 1 book, yeah.
Coming from a place where you had just drafts, now reaching to Penguin, it's a whole long journey. How much Penguin pays?
I would say 5 figures, but I would say mine is in the 5 figures. So mine's in the let's say the $20,000 range. 2021 and 2022 were the best print sales ever in history of books. Yes, that's coming off of the pandemic, so maybe those numbers are a little bit skewed, but even before that, the book trend of selling physical books, print books that you hold in your hand, was already going up for the last 10 years before that.
Dr. Vedumani, he is the founder of a laboratory in India, Thyrocare. I love his line. He says, ideas are like sperms. Only 1 in a million works. What are the best ways for any writer to earn from the time they are struggling? So let's focus this podcast on the career growth as an author, or how you can leave your job and start this journey of author. So when did you start? When did you start writing?
Whoa. For me, I'm lucky. I always knew I wanted to be a writer. So my first book I wrote, I was 8 years old, So that's when my
8 years old.
8. I already knew back then, It's a book called The Battle. My mom still has it in her
And it was
house.
Self-published?
No, I didn't publish it. I just wrote it. I just wrote it because I loved writing, So I just wrote it, and so that was like when I knew I just wanted to be a writer. But seriously, I would say I started around 2008. That's around when I finished university. Right before that, 2007, I started writing my first novel, which would go on to be Thoughts of a Fractured Soul. I published that in 2014, but I would say my journey started in 2007, 2008.
Already 14 years into writing? Or 16 years?
It's a long
How has the
road.
journey been?
It's been every single emotion that you could think about. I've gone through, oh my gosh, I love writing. Oh my gosh, I hate writing. I don't want to write anymore. But my professor, I'll give my professor credit. He told me in my senior year, I went to him and I showed him my first draft. And it was 200 pages, and he said, if you really want to be an author and you want to do this full time, it's going to take you 5 years to learn how to write, 5 years to build an audience, and 5 years to make enough money to sustain yourself and thrive.
So how many books you have published so far?
2 self-published, 3 published, with a couple more to come. So, yeah. Lots of writing.
According to your experience, what was best, self-publishing or traditional?
Different. I don't know which one is necessarily better. I think it depends on what you're looking for. So for me, I purposely wanted to start with self-publishing because I wanted to know everything about the industry. I wanted to know how to market, how to build a readership. I want to just understand the industry. And when you do that, when you self-publish, you have to know everything because you do everything yourself.
Exactly.
So that helped me out a lot. It also really helped me to understand how to speak to an audience. Because if you're a writer, you need to have readers. This is your livelihood. You need to understand your readers. So self-publishing helped me with that a lot. It also helped me understand marketing and how long you have to market and how far out you need to start marketing. I started marketing my second self-published book 2 years before I was finished writing it. I started doing things to activate people's curiosities and get people engaged with it before I finished writing the book, 2 years before. So I wouldn't have known that if I was published right away. So that really helped me a lot. And then once I got published, now it's a whole different situation, or kind of a different situation, because for me, I got published with an independent publisher first. So they were smaller. So they didn't have huge marketing budgets and stuff like that. So I still have to do a lot of the things myself, a lot of the marketing myself. But now when you're signed to Scholastic and Penguin and stuff like that, then it's a little bit different. They're able to put you in different situations. I was in Ohio at because my publisher sent me there. I'm going to BC. I'm going to Boston, so they're able to facilitate things that you're not able to do on your own. They're able to put you in bookstores and bookshops that I'm not able to get into on my own.
Have you been in Penguin?
How about
With
yeah, I'm signed to Tundra Penguin Random House right now with for 3 books or 2 books. Yeah,
You're signed with Penguin for 2 books
for
right
2 books
now.
and Scholastic for 1 book. Yeah.
Coming from a place where you had just drafts, now reaching to Penguin,
Yeah.
it's a whole long journey.
Yes, extremely long journey. But I wanted this journey, right? I didn't want to stay self-published. I wanted to be published as well. So I purposely chased a publisher, and to get a publisher, your first step is to get an agent. For the most part, your first step is to get an agent. So my first challenge after I self-published my second book was to go find an agent, and I was very determined to find an agent. The first thing I did was go to New York. There was a conference that was happening in August. When I found out about it, it was June, and you had to have a book finished or you couldn't come. So I was like, that means I have 3 months to write a book, or to get a first draft of a book. So I wrote the book in 3 months. It was a draft. Went to the conference. It helped me out a lot because I got to talk to different agents. It's almost like they put you in front of agents and you have 5 minutes to vocally talk about your book. You don't show them any writing, but you just tell them about your book. And if they like your book, or if they like what they hear, they ask you for your manuscript. And you have to have the manuscript ready to go. That's why you have to have it written. I did that. 5 agents said they liked what they heard. I sent my manuscript to 5 agents. All of them said no. No, 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 no. We don't like your book. Except for one. She still said no, but she gave me feedback. And she told me what I was doing wrong in my writing. And remember now, I already wrote 2 books, self-published. So I thought I was good. I was like, what is she talking about? I'm good. I know
And
how
what
to...
was wrong?
Very kind of book nerd stuff, writing nerd stuff. So I was not filtering correctly. So filtering is basically this way of call it like not transitioning correctly from scene to scene. That's a very loose interpretation of that. But instead of being upset, the first thing I did, I think I got that feedback in November or October. In January, I put myself into a novel writing class. That novel writing class was 8 months. Novel writing, 2 semesters. Full till August, January till August. And in those...
And you paid for it.
I paid $3,000 to be in that course. Myself, out of money in my own pocket.
And where did you study it?
Humber College.
Humber College.
Yeah, which interestingly enough, I teach once a week at Humber now. So it's a full circle, But I did that and I got through the course, and the book that I workshopped became my first published book. So that course helped me out tremendously because after I finished the course, they helped me workshop that book. I pitched it to my agent. And when I pitched it to my agent, I knew for sure they're going to accept it because I know I just got so much better. He accepted it. We sold the book within a couple of months and it was over. That started my journey. And then after that, it was floodgates. After that, Scholastic came. And then, it just kept going and going. Penguin came after that. So it was.
And after that, they reached you out.
Yeah. Then it was, you don't have to do, once you're in, you're in. You know what I mean? Like once you get one publishing deal,
one agent signs you off. That's it. You're in.
You're in. You're in. Once you get signed to a publisher, I should say, you're in. You know what I mean? So it's floodgates after that. Scholastic actually reached out to me, which was beautiful because they had saw some of my writing before and they wanted me to write a story for them. So they reached out to me and asked me if I'd write the story. So that's how I got my Scholastic deal. And then with Penguin, once you get one, I was able to pitch them ideas, and they buy my ideas. I don't have to pitch full books anymore. I could just have my idea. They say, I love this idea.
Write something for it.
Write something for it. Here's the check. Go ahead and do your writing.
And no, not to be exact, but vaguely, how much Penguin pays?
I would say 5 figures. I would say that. You could get, it depends, everyone's contract is different, but I would say mine is in the 5 figures. So mine's in the let's say the $20,000 range.
And after that, do you get royalties as well?
Then you get royalties, yes. But let me explain, royalties are difficult to get. So before you get any royalties, you have to earn back your money first. So the $20,000, let's say they invested $20,000 into me, I have to make back $20,000 based off of my royalty percentage. So if they sell 1,000 books at $20, my book is $23, that's already $20,000. You think you earn royalty. It doesn't work like that. It's the off of the 15% royalty of the 1,000 books you sold.
Exactly.
That's what you earn. So you have to sell.
You removed the print cost, you removed the distribution cost.
Exactly. So you have to sell about 10,000, 15,000 books, or something like that before you start making your money back. So
So
10,000.
first of all, publisher will compensate his money.
Yes. Obvious. Yes. They take their money
They'll
first.
compensate their money.
Yes.
And they'll take your royalty, whatever comes.
Yes.
And after that, they'll start giving.
Then you start getting your royalty. So you might not earn royalties for over a year after your book comes out. But it depends on how many you sell. You know, so that's why to me the 10,000. When I say I want to sell 10,000 books by the end of the year, that's not a number I just made up out of my mind. That's the number of books that they printed. Right? So if you print 10,000 books and I sell 10,000 books, that means I've sold out all the books that they printed. They'll do another print run. So the 10,000 number sounds very like, oh, 10,000. No, it's I want to get through my print run. Most authors, published or not, well, published authors, do not get through their print run, their first one. You know, the overwhelming majority don't. So for me to say, let me get through my print run, that would be an accomplishment that most authors don't achieve. And it's one that I want to achieve. So that's where the number came from, you know?
Let's go more into earning perspective.
Yes.
Of writing. There are many authors who want to pursue this career, but I'd say they lack the basic ideas of how this career works, how much time they need to spend, and also what is the amount of money they can make. You like to shed some light on it?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, the time thing is crucial. It takes me a year to write a book, you know, and it takes most people at least a few, let's say 6 months to write a book. So you're already looking at half a year to a year of your life gone, just writing the book. Then let's suppose you do get signed to a publisher. We're gonna just play this out, right? You go to a publisher, they sign you. You have to do edits still. The publisher signs the book. The edits are going to be extensive. I don't care how good you think your book is. You're going to have extensive edits. There's another 6 months gone. The publisher has you on a queue. You're not the first book that they're going to publish. So if you signed a publishing deal today, 2024, June 2024, book's not coming out till August 2026. So that's 2 years before your book, especially if you're with a major publisher. 2 years your book is not coming out for, right? So you have to think about what are you going to do in 2 years to sustain yourself and to make money, to make sure that you can survive till your book comes out? Because first of all, even if they sign you for $100,000, you don't get all $100,000 up front. You get some of it. When you sign, you get $25,000. You deliver another draft after their edit, you get maybe another $40,000. Then when the book comes out, then you get the rest of your money. So you're going 2 years before you get all $100,000. You can't live off $20,000. Not if you live in Toronto. You can't live off that in a year, right? So you also have to figure out how you're going to facilitate your own lifestyle. So it's the career of an author is the career of an entrepreneur. Or you can look at it like it's a career of an artist in general. Think about how a musician makes money. A musician doesn't say, okay, I'm just going to get streams and that's my only income. They say, I'm going to do streams, I'm going to tour, I'm going to sell merch, I'm going to do brand deals, I'm going to help other musicians, collaborative stuff. You have to, as an author, you have to take that same exact mindset. You have to figure out ways to connect with people and tour and maybe make money off that. Yes, sell books. Yes, that's one thing, but leave that to the end. You're going to sell books afterwards, and that's the least money that you're going to make, most likely. How are you going to go do some public speaking?
Storytelling.
How are you going to get into, does your book connect with students? If not, who does your book connect with, and how are you going to go find those people? Are there things that you could build around your book that you can offer as a service or entice people to also purchase, right? You have to look at all those things. Can you go write for somebody else? You know, can you use your writing skills to help somebody else tell their story? Ghostwriting, right? Ghostwriting for me has been life-saving. It's been an extremely lucrative. You know, like that. Ghostwriting for me has brought me more money than all my book sales combined.
Okay, one simple question.
Yes.
So, talking about all this money stuff and how much it takes to write a book, we forgot one major thing.
Yes.
Are there readers?
Because
we are in the era of Instagram.
Yes.
Where attention span is 3 seconds.
Yes.
It does not take more than 2 or 3 seconds for a person to swipe you up.
Yes.
Right? And in that time, we are talking about a book of 200 pages.
Yeah.
that might take 2 or 3 days to complete.
Yeah. And longer for most people. Yeah.
Longer for most people. If you're an avid reader, of course, then
Yeah,
2 3 days. Otherwise,
Yeah.
months. I would say.
Yeah. True.
If not 1 month, then months.
Yeah,
I think.
I agree.
So, are there enough readers?
Yeah, yo, that is such a good question. And the answer is yes. And I really want people to take this in, right? The last 2 years, sorry, 2021 and 2022 were the best print sales ever in history of books. Yes, that's coming off of the pandemic, so maybe those numbers are a little bit skewed. But even before that, the book trend of selling physical books, print books that you hold in your hand, was already going up for the last 10 years before that, right? So or last 5 years before that. So we are already, publishing was already doing well, and it's a healthy business. The margins have only gone down by about 2% each year. So it's stayed, even well after the pandemic, it still stayed. The readership is high. Gen Z, the young kids, that are all on TikTok, they still prefer physical books over digital books. They read at the same level as baby boomers. They read physical books at the same level as the oldest readers. The book is not going anywhere. What people have to understand is they need books, though, that they connect with. You sold 70,000 books yourself because you wrote something that people connect with. Those are the same people that go scroll Instagram and can't look at something for more than 2 seconds. It's the same people. But because they connected with your story, connected with your book, you're able to sell a good amount, an amount that most writers dream of, right? So it's not about, I think writers need to stop thinking about what are people's attention spans? Are there readers out there? The numbers, I just told you the numbers. And if you want exact numbers, I can tell you exact numbers of how many books that were sold, right? It's not about that. It's about writing something that captures people's attention and then finding a way to go find the people and show them that, hey, look at this book that I wrote. You're going to be interested in this book that I wrote, right? And you are going to be interested in this book that I wrote. Bring them together so they could see. That's that part of it, the part of capturing the attention is what writers struggle with because they don't want to do that work. They're not capable of doing that work. And it's understandable. Your talent is a writer, like you want to write. But in 2024, unfortunately, that's just not enough anymore. You can't just say, I'm going to write, and then that's it. You have to write and then find a way to promote your writing and attract people. If you don't like the word promote, attract people to your
I'd say
writing.
it's very important that you are a good storyteller.
Yes, that is it.
You need to learn storytelling.
Yes.
If you don't know it, get a course.
Yes.
Learn it. People think if I've written 2 books, if I've written 5 books, now I'm the master of writing books. I think you are the best person who will say no.
Yes. No, you're not. Yes. I love that point because it is about storytelling. We're creatures of storytelling. We tell ourselves stories every day. We tell the world is the way it is because of stories.
And I'd say everyone is a storyteller.
Yes.
Just your way of telling stories is different.
Yes.
And that's what makes you unique.
I agree with you so much, so much. I love that point. And if you're able to tell a good story, like about your book and about why readers should read your book, and if you're able to communicate that well, then you attract people naturally.
Even I think you don't have to say that you need to buy this book.
No,
you just have to tell the story. They'll find you themselves.
Exactly. You don't have to always be like, oh, buy my book, grab your copy. Yes, sometimes you want to say that, but to be honest, if you just tell the story, people are going to connect with it. If you did a good job of telling the story, people will connect with it.
Every writer feels after writing 2 3 books that they're writing the best. Yeah. Everyone needs to buy them.
Yeah.
I think you relate to that feeling. When you wrote your first 2 self-published books.
Yeah, I did. I thought...
And that's a tight slap on the writer's face when you realize that, no, that's actually not true.
It's a wake-up call.
Yeah.
It's a rude wake-up call.
Yeah. That's what I told. A tight slap on your face.
It is. It feels like that. It feels like a really hard slap. You're right. But again, then you have a choice. It's like, do I keep going? Do I keep persevering, or do I just give up and quit? So being a writer and having a career in writing is a lot of sacrifice. You have to figure out what do you really want out of this, I think you asked me a question off camera about, about authors with a day job. What advice would I tell them? And I said, I would tell them to keep their job because I think writing comes from such a place of passion. You feel like when you're writing something, even if you're writing fiction, It's still part of you. It's still part of your life. So you feel like you're writing something very personal, and that takes a lot of emotion out of you. It takes a lot of energy out of you. And if you are not mentally prepared for that, and it's also if you attach money to that, if you're writing for money and then you're not getting that reciprocated, you start feeling like your self-worth is worthless.
Decreasing, yeah.
It's decreasing, yes, right? And you don't want to get into that position because then you'll get into a bad headspace.
Yeah.
So I tell them keep their job, because really, if you could separate money from the passion and for as long as possible, then it'll help you become a better writer, and then it'll help you stay comfortable and creative, because now you're not writing from a place of desperation like, oh, I need to make money. You're writing like, what can I do to tell the best story? How can I make these characters the best they can? How can I be the best writer I can? And today, that's important. Quality matters. There's too much writing out there for you to think that you can be average when there are over 4 million books published just in the US alone. 4 million. So what, you can't just
What
be
makes
average.
you different?
What makes you different? What makes your story different? You have to be good. You have to tell a very interesting, intriguing story. And I think that the longer you're able to really dive into that passion and not really worry about making money, then the more creative you will be, and you give yourself a better chance.
Do you think that being consistent about writing, even if you get rejections, eventually leads you to that place?
Yes, if you are being consistent and also monitoring your growth, though, that I think that's important. You have to be able to gauge how well you are getting better and if you are getting better, because you can write every day, and yes, just the act of writing every day on its own you will find some kind of progress, but you need to make sure that you're working on your weaknesses and you're getting feedback from people to say, hey, this is not, you're not doing this well, you're not doing that well, because like I told you before, the agent pointed things out to me that I thought I was doing well before. So imagine, I thought I was good at these things, and it took somebody with a skilled eye who's read thousands of books probably at that point to say, no, Kern, you're not doing well at these things. So I would say, as you are writing, being consistent, yes, you will eventually make progress, but you want to be going up. You want to be getting better. You want to be meeting more people. You want to be understanding the industry better. All of that. So you have to gauge your progress. Not just be consistent, but be consistent and gauge your progress. Because if you're not getting better, then you're really not. Or if you're not getting better sharply, then I think you're doing a little bit of a disservice to yourself.
Can self-published authors from their already published books evaluate themselves? Like sending already published books to an agent
Yeah.
to get it checked, what I need to improve, how I need to improve.
Yeah, not to an agent. An agent won't do that for you. I think it's important that if you're self-published, get really good editors and readers. So connect. There are a lot of freelance editors, especially today, that are out there doing work. The most amount of money you should spend when you're still freelance or when you're still self-published is with an editor, more than anything, because they'll tell you where you're going wrong. So that I would spend as much money as you can. That's where you spend, because you need feedback. Writing, you can't be great at writing without feedback.
Of course.
You can't. It's just not possible. It's
It's the reader who is going to read it.
Thank you.
It's
not
for
you. It's not for you. Like, you're right. Maybe you're writing
reader.
for yourself, but if you want to write and share your writing, then you're not writing for yourself. You're writing for an audience. So let the audience read it.
I think this is a big difference. Writing for your passion and commercial writing.
Yes.
They're very different.
Yes.
Commercial writing means you're going to sell it.
Yes. Yes.
Personal passion writing is like just for you.
Yeah.
You can just
and do whatever you want.
You can write, you can write in any grammar you want.
Exactly. If that's what makes you happy, then do that. To be honest, and then take selling the books out of it. But if you want to sell books, then you have to understand the industry, and you have to understand what it takes to sell books. And it's not just writing, or it's not just writing from a place of passion. It's understanding and starting with passion, for sure. You're not writing something you don't love. Yes, I agree with that. But at the same time, you have to market it. You have to find a way to sell the thing. That's how publishing makes money.
From a place of being a cleaning person, being on a janitor positions, and to a height of getting signed with Penguin. I don't know what to say. That's like a crazy story.
I know. I still have the gloves and stuff.
But seriously, that's like zero to hero. It's like completely being in a position where people think that, oh, this man cannot do anything. What will he do? And to a position where world's best publishers are signing you up,
Yeah. Yeah, I know,
and
right?
and you're making money.
I know. I know. But you know what though? All of that was very strategic, I'll be honest with you. So after university I graduated, I turned down good jobs. I turned down jobs that were offered me 80,000, and this is back in 2008. Offered me 80,000 to go to New York and work in New York City, you know? I turned those jobs down. I turned down teaching jobs. And in Toronto, teachers make up to 90, back then 90, they make more than that now, 90,000, right? So I turned those jobs down on purpose so I could work those janitor
writing.
jobs. I did all those janitor jobs and stuff, so I had mental capacity to write. That was my only goal. I was like, I want to be a full-time writer and author. The only way I could do that is if I dedicate myself to writing. The only way I could dedicate myself to writing is if I'm not consumed by a full-time job. Because I'm the type of person that goes all out. So if I have a full-time job, especially like say I was a teacher, I'm not just gonna go to work and teach. I'm gonna get there early. I'm gonna stay late. I'm gonna mark. I'm gonna talk to students. That's gonna drain me, you know? And I said the number one most important thing was becoming an author and a writer. So I took all those odd jobs because I could just go to work, do all the janitor stuff clean, but then after that I just come home. And then now I have the entire day to write, you know?
Because that's a physical job.
Yeah.
It's not a mental
It's not a
job.
mental job. Exactly. So and it's also shift work, you know? So I knew exactly like what my shifts were when I would finish in the day so I could plan and write. So it was very strategic. I really thought about what I could do, what regular jobs I can do to really focus on writing. And just to be clear, I'm not like making fun of those other jobs as well, right? I'm not saying that those jobs are bad.
But no,
You know, but it's the big difference between being
exactly.
a janitor and being an author.
When you are planning to do something big,
Yes.
sometimes you need to step back
Yes.
a little bit.
Exactly.
Because while earning $150,000 a year, you cannot focus somewhere else.
It's hard. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard.
You need to take down all your necessities
Exactly.
and plan everything within $30,000
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
year. And that's how you.
But when you have a vision, I always tell people I feel very fortunate because I always knew I wanted to be a writer and an author. Always, right? I told you I wrote my first book when I was 8. So I always knew. So what I give myself credit for though is I pursued it and I stuck with it and I stuck with that vision. So because that vision was so clear for me, I didn't see anything else for me. It's not like I was like, oh, maybe I'll do this and maybe I'll do that. I was like, no, I am going to be a writer, period.
Exactly. When I started this podcast, so many asked me, there are hundreds of podcasts going on. Why will someone watch them? I was like, I don't know, just want to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
There is no.
It's like almost delusional a little bit. There's no reason to it.
There's no reason to it. I just want to do that.
I just want to do it.
And I know that money will come somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
It will be on way.
Exactly. And you just do it.
Yeah.
And look, you have a beautiful studio now and you're doing it, right? So I don't know. That was helpful for me. I think knowing what I want to do and being very, very narrow-minded in a way helped me get there.
But many writers today are struggling in their. They have made their expenses to 150,000 if they are in 200,000. So now they cannot step back to 50,000. Their families to feed. Everything is there.
Yes.
And I think still if they can dedicate something, then it's a very beautiful profession.
It is.
And it might drain you for 7 to 8 years. Even 10 years, I would say. I'm in publishing industry, I told you, for last 7 to 8 years, 10 years. It might drain you for a little bit time, but eventually you'll realize that, you're doing something that no one can even dream of.
I know. It's so beautiful. I really believe that. I'm so happy you said that because it's true. Writing is such a beautiful career and a beautiful path to take. You're telling stories for people and people see themselves in these stories and people connect on a whole different level.
It's like you're dreaming and everyone near you can feel themselves as the main character of the dream.
Yes. That is a perfect way to put it. Absolutely. And what's more special than that?
Exactly.
What's more special?
And I usually say this thing that go on stage once in life, and if 100 people in front of you clap for you, you won't be able to sleep for 3-4 days.
Yeah.
And the adrenaline boost that'll give you, no 1 million can give that to you.
Absolutely right.
After that, money will become secondary.
Yeah.
And you'll go on a path that is all about people,
Yes.
their happiness.
Yes.
And once you're on that path, money is just sticking around you.
Yeah, it'll just start coming. But you know, it's really hard for people to understand that because it doesn't happen normally
Overnight,
anyway. It doesn't happen right away. So you have to go through that 7-8 years that
7,
you
8,
went
10 years
through,
minimum.
right? So and I think that's what people struggle with. But if you could just get through it, the money, trust me, it comes. It's you almost don't have to look for it after a while. You know, you just be that person and really focus on people, focus on your stories. And then you'll start seeing money in your account. You're like, whoa, okay,
Where is it coming?
Yeah, where is this money coming from? But it's a journey, and I really hope more writers just stick with that journey.
Again, to come back to the same topic, many writers feel this, that they're writing good, but not getting sold. In self-publishing, I would say.
So there's a lot of different ways you can approach it. Now, if you're writing to sell and you feel like you're not selling, the first thing you should look at is yourself and say, what am I doing wrong? You'll get to everything after. I'll get there in a minute. But the first thing you automatically, no matter what, have to say is, what am I doing wrong? What can I do better? Is my writing as sharp as it could be? Am I being consistent in my promotion of myself and my writing? Am I telling the right stories, right, to connect with an audience? Am I speaking to the right audience, right? Are my stories speaking to the right audience? So you have to look at yourself first. Number one. Once you look at that and you say everything is all right, I'm doing all those things, and if you are doing all those things, it's just a matter of time. I promise you. It's a matter of time after that. If you are doing all those things, you're writing sharp, you're being consistent, you're promoting yourself, you're telling stories, you found the right audience and your right reader, right? You've identified who that reader is and how you can help that reader. If you're doing all those things, it's a matter of time. I would be lying if I said timing and a little bit of luck does not matter. I have to say that.
I think it matters.
I think it matters a lot, right? I think I would be lying if I didn't say that. So you have to be prepared when your time comes. And your time could come tomorrow, right? You could be lucky and you get it after 1 year. It happens sometimes, right? But most of the time you have to keep going, and then maybe it's 2 years and 3 years, and then you get
I believe it's written. There is a date written.
Yeah.
It's 21st of July 2028.
Yes.
That is the day you're going to get famous.
That's when you're going to get it.
Now, you don't know the date. It's a surprise.
Yes.
And you need to just go through that.
Yes.
And God is like, let's see if you can reach there.
If that is literally the exact perfect way to explain it. There's already a date written.
Yeah.
It's for you. You just don't know when that date is. So you have to prepare yourself because, again, it could be a year. It could be some writer's first book.
So readers are always right.
Yeah.
If you are writing commercially, then you need to write according to the readers.
Thank you.
And if you're writing for your own, again, it comes back.
Yeah.
The same thing. You can write any shit and you can keep it with you.
Yeah.
It's for your home.
Yeah. There's a balance, though. You have to get the balance. Yes, if you want to write beautiful poetic writing, yes, absolutely. And there's a market for that. But that market is not going to be the same as someone who's writing commercial writing, or someone who's really understands their
Again,
audience.
I'm not saying that you can't get famous, but maybe not in your lifetime.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's going to take decades or something.
Maybe after 600 years, someone will open your book in some library and they'll say, my forefather wrote this 600 years ago.
Yeah.
And after that, in the school books, it will be you.
Yeah.
But who knows?
No, it is a good question, and I'm happy you bring this up because a lot of writers struggle with this. I told them, the book before this one, this is my second to last book, and then it's called Boys and Girls Screaming. I was very deliberate about making that book commercial, and I told people that. I wrote about it. I'm like, I'm writing this book to be get published and to sell, and I wrote it with that intention. And people ask me, yeah, but Are you sacrificing creativity? I'm like, no, it's the opposite. You have to be so much more creative to get a book to sell.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You don't sacrifice any creativity at all, you know? And I think writers have this thought about selling out. You know, like they feel like, oh, if I write something that's commercial, I'm selling out. What are you selling out? Your job as a writer, in my opinion, is to write books to connect with people. That's what I think your job is, you know? So if your job is to write books and connect with people, and commercial writing is writing books that connect with the most people possible, then how can commercial writing be selling out? You're doing your job at the highest levels if you're writing commercial. You know what I'm saying? So, and then also I also want to just give space to other writers, because there are still writers who write very literary fiction. So writers who write Jhumpa Lahiri, for example, writes very literary fiction, you know, and people buy it. She's a very popular author, but Jhumpa Lahiri is an exception. Like, that is not the rule. That is not how most authors make their living, you know? She's an exception to the rule. She's not the rule. So you could use Jhumpa Lahiri as an example. Be like, oh, she does it. She's the one in a million, right? So if you want to take that route, know that you're going an even more difficult route. But again, as long as you're aware of it, if you want to go that route, as long as you know that you're going the more difficult path, fine, do that. But if you want to give yourself a better chance of selling books, then it's about writing commercial books, commercial fiction, or commercial whatever, or writing in a way that's going to connect with people. If you're writing nonfiction, writing in a way that's going to be commercial enough that they understand, or tell a story that they relate to.
I'll tell you two things. Just got into my mind. This one literary agent, one of my very good friends, she told me once that I was like, because as in publishing industry, a lot of writers come, and I talk to a lot of writers, and then to a lot of agents as well. So this agent, she was talking to me. She's like a very good friend of mine. She was like, so we were just discussing about authors, and she was like, one thing you are in publishing industry. One thing you need to tell these authors. I was like, what? That they need to unlearn to learn first of all.
Okay, tell me.
They need to unlearn what they have learned already. They have to break those patterns. They have already made a house and circumferenced it with something very hard, and they're not able to break it. They're not able to realize that what they're writing is not what the audience wants.
Yes.
And they are in this delusion mindset that I am writing beautiful, I am writing good. So first of all, they need to unlearn what they have learned already.
I love that.
And that's the worst part, that they don't want to unlearn.
They don't want to hear that.
They don't want to hear that.
Oh, that agent's smart.
That's what you told me, that it took you 9 months in Humber College to unlearn and learn first of all.
Yes, exactly.
Because main reason was that you knew that I have something that is wrong. I'm doing something that is wrong.
Yes.
And I need to
get better. I need to fix that. That is so right. I'm so happy I'm talking to another writer, because there's some things I can say and you get it automatically. I love that. Or you say it even better than I say it. But yeah, that is so right. It's just it is a little bit of unlearning, getting out of your own mind and getting out of the story that you told yourself of what it means to be a writer, and then understanding the reality of what it means to be a writer,
Okay. One more thing I just remembered. I'll just sum up for you.
Yeah.
So you told me about these authors who are exceptions, right? So we have a very famous Indian personality. He's an entrepreneur, Dr. Velumani. He's the founder of a laboratory in India, Thyrocare. I love his line. He says, ideas are like sperms. Only 1 in a million works. If one idea is working, that does not mean yours will work.
Exactly.
You're working in an exceptional space.
Yeah, exactly. It's true, man. Like, you have to, you said it right. It's an unlearning. It really is an unlearning, and as the faster you can understand the realities of that, the better off you're going to be. Or, like I said, just write for yourself then. There is a lot that you can gain from just writing for yourself and writing for, maybe you're putting something out on Substack or something, and you have a few people that are following you, a few hundred people that are following you, 1,000 people that are, if that's something that entices you, that excites you, then do that. But if you want to get into this world of selling books, unfortunately or unfortunately, there's a path, there are rules, and there's a way to do it to give yourself the best chance. Again, we're not talking about exceptions. We're talking about the rules, and the rules dictate, how things go. So, and again, we could get into a deeper conversation about the actual publishing industry maybe next time, because a lot of times the publishing industry predetermines which books are going to do well.
Yeah.
And that could be seen as unfair, and that gets into equity, and that gets into a whole bunch of other deeper conversations. So I'm definitely acknowledging
Nepotism?
that nepotism for sure. And cultural nepotism at that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm not
I can
dispelling.
relate to it completely.
Yeah.
I can relate to it.
There you go. So I'm not denying that those factors exist for sure. Like there are other factors involved in selling a book as well. But for a general conversation, I think that you do need to understand that there is a difference between commercial writing and any other type of writing.
If you sit with some Lauren personalities, sit with some people who have already achieved something, you'll understand that in one punchline they can sum it up everything for you. Like this guy, Dr. Villamani.
Yeah, exactly.
In one line,
Yeah,
you can keep thinking about this thing, and you will realize in every aspect of life it works.
yeah, yeah. True.
You can have 300 ideas, and one of it is working, and all 299 are behind that one.
Behind it, yeah. But only that one's gonna work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's reality, and it's an unfortunate reality, but it's reality.
But I would say one thing for authors, that if you are consistent,
Yeah.
if you are growth centric, if you're consistent,
Yes.
you are eventually going to land somewhere.
Agreed.
For sure.
Agreed. I agree. Just stay with it.
Because not everyone can stay with it.
No. You know how many authors I've seen come and go since my time? Friends, not friends, people I saw on the internet, through networking, and I've met them and they're excited and they love writing, and then years goes by and 2 years go by and I don't see them writing anymore. They're not posting anymore. And then
Yeah. If you want to make they say if you want to make a meal, you have to lit the stove for 15 minutes, constant. You should not do it high, low, high,
exactly.
low.
You gotta stay. You gotta stay with
You gotta
it.
stay. Even if it's low flame, it's gonna stay.
It's gonna stay, and eventually it'll get hot.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Eventually, it will get hot.
Persistence.
Persistence, man. It sounds so basic, but it's a necessity. And I'll also say this because I heard this the other day, and I think authors could benefit from this. There are levels to it as well, to your persistence, and there are levels to your consistency. So I heard Will Smith say the other day that he was talking about, he was at a movie, the first Bad Boys one, and he was sitting with the producer of the movie, and it's not done yet, so they're looking at the edits, and Will's like, yeah, this is about 90% done, and the producer said, what's good about something being 90% done? It means it means that you're halfway there, So because what his point is that the distance between 90% and 100% is so great. It's the actual thing that separates good from great.
Great. Yep.
Because that last 10%, the effort you need to give is unlike any effort that you're going to give in the entire 90%. So I think a lot of people get close to 90%. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm doing pretty good on this, I'm doing pretty good on that, I'm posting almost every day.
People don't realize that it's simple, but it's not easy.
But it's not easy. Exactly. So this 10% is simple, but it's not easy. It's not easy. That's why there are only some people who do great things.
Jack Ma told in his one interviews, today is hard. Tomorrow is going to be harder. But day after tomorrow is beautiful. What people do, they give up tomorrow evening.
Yeah. And they miss out on the beauty.
Yeah.
On the next day. Yeah. That you're speaking my language. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. They do hard work.
Yeah.
But at the end, they'll just leave it.
Because that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
And they felt like they already did work.
They don't even know that they have reached already 90%.
Yeah.
I think by publishing your first 2 self-publishing books, you have already cracked the code. You have cracked the 90% of the code.
Yeah.
Now what you need to do is leave that 10% more, come to 80% back, and then learn 20% more. That's it. You are done.
I like that.
You have got to know that your friends will not buy your book.
No, no.
Because I have seen authors who have made a list. Sir, I have 500 people. I have made a list who will buy. And I was like, if 50 of them bought,
You're lucky.
I'll be thankful for you.
You're lucky if 50 of them buy it.
Because, and I have seen, what is the cost of a book? $15? $20?
About 15, $20, yeah.
But I have seen people who will buy your book and show it to you and return the book.
Wow.
That's the reality.
Wow.
And then someone will come to you as a publisher and they'll say, no, this guy bought the book. He showed me photo. And I was like, and here is his order number. And here is his replacement.
Wow.
So
Wow.
this happens.
But again, it's a game. It's a journey. Sorry,
So your real audience will buy your book in
And read
in
it.
real.
yeah. And
They'll
sit
not buy
with
the
it.
book to show you.
No, it's such a journey. Being an author and being a writer is such
Okay,
a journey.
let's. What are the best ways for any writer to earn from the time they are struggling? And the book is not that famous.
Very specifically, any kind of writing for other people. So that's really what ghostwriting is. Yes, you could ghostwrite books, which is what I do, and that's the most lucrative. You could charge 25,
So how you 25?
25,000, 30,000, 50,000. You could charge a lot to ghostwrite someone's
And we are
book.
talking about dollars.
Dollars. Yeah, sorry, dollars. Yeah. So you could ghostwriting for sure is one of the lucrative things, but any writing for anybody else. If somebody needs to write a speech, right, like there are CEOs out there that need to write speeches. My friend makes a great living doing that. Some people struggle to write like their social media stuff. If someone needs help writing their social media posts, you could help with that. So I would say writing, ghostwriting for sure, and helping others write. If I was starting today writing, trying to make money as a writer, I'll start in editing, because editing is AI proof. Even with AI, you need someone to edit the work. You need
course.
someone else to look it over. So you
Because
could,
AI can help you
Yeah.
grammatical errors,
Yes.
but
it won't give you the full thing. So
Exactly.
as an editor, you still can make money. So if I started writing today and I wanted to make money, I would start in editing. And I'll become very adept at editing. Now you should go take some editing courses, because there are skills that you need with editing that are different from writing. But I would start with editing. You can make a lot of money as an editor. And then as a writer, I would also think about getting into being a creative director. Because, and I teach once a week at Humber College, and I tell my students this: you're going to get paid more for your mind and the way you're able to organize and direct things in the future and now than you are directly with your writing, because of partially because of AI. So as a creative director, you're an organizer. You're saying that, here, let's suppose you're making a commercial, right? To make a commercial, you need to write a script, right? You need to get the actors. You need to hire a team to shoot it. You need to shoot it, and then you need to cut it and edit it. A creative director is the one that organizes all of that. So if you are good at writing, you understand the script. You could do that part yourself,
Yeah.
right? And get paid for it. Then, because you're a thinker now, because you're a creative director, you can understand how everything else works. So now you know the right people to get for the script. You know the right person to hire to shoot the video. You know all these things to make sure that creatively, like, you put something together that's amazing. So if you could teach yourself those skills and understand storytelling at a high level, you could be a creative director with writing skills, right? So because you can write, you actually make yourself more valuable, because you can write the script yourself or edit the script yourself,
Yeah.
and then still do all the other things that creative directors do. So it's a little bit of an aside, but I think you have to start thinking, as a writer, you have to start thinking outside of the box a little bit, and not just how can I use my exact writing skills to make money, but how can I use my mind as a writer and as a creative person to make money, you know? And I think you have to start thinking like that if you really want to thrive as a writer. And then the other stuff too, like, go figure out a way to build some partnerships. I got I don't know if I'm allowed to say the organization's name, but let's just say I got a organization here in Canada to pay us $15,000 to create a platform to help young teenagers write, right? They gave us $15,000 based off an idea. We didn't have the platform ready. We didn't have any examples to show them. We had an idea, right? Like what I was saying, use your mind. We had an idea. It still had to do with writing but I'm not writing.
And you approach
And I
organizations.
approached them. Yeah, I said, hey, like, here's what we want to do. Here's how I'll serve you. Here's how I'll serve these kids. Here's what it has to do with writing, right? So again, I'm not personally writing, but I use my understanding of writing and how I could serve others. And we were able to get that $15,000.
So again, one simple thing I want to clear out to the audience. You do not need to be a published author or a best-selling author.
Zero. You don't need that.
You just need to be having a passion for writing. That's it.
And need a passion for writing, and you need to have a little bit of a creative mind. Outside of writing, you have to know how to look at things and
again, same thing. You need to be a creative director.
Yes, exactly, because there are so much opportunities out there. There's so much money out there, especially in the Western world. There's so much money out there that you just have to find where to tap it, where you're gonna pull. What's gonna make the most sense for you. That program that I ran for 4 months we got $15,000. We were able to pay teenagers to write, right? Like that is an amazing thing. Teenagers never get paid to write, right?
So you paid those $15,000 to teenagers?
Most of it, yeah.
Okay.
We had to build the platform, but other than that, we paid $15,000 to teenagers to write. We got a creative designer to help design. We paid them, but we paid the teenagers the money to write.
And what was the end goal? To publish something?
The end goal was really to get teenagers. So the platform was called Teens Love Lit, and it was just a platform. We're actually redoing it now, but it's a platform where teens wrote stories, and the audience was only teenagers. We created a platform we made it so that we did tech stuff so only teenagers could log in. We gave teachers access to because we partnered with some schools, but it was written by teenagers for teenagers. That's it. So we had. At the highest, we had a 70% open rate because we sent it out as a newsletter.
Lovely.
And we kept it as a blog site, but we sent it out as a newsletter. Think about Saturday morning, 70% of these kids were opening this letter and reading it.
Something that people from marketing will realize how much 70% opening rate means.
It's ridiculous, right? So that just shows you, again, going back to our earlier conversation, if something relates to someone, these are kids that have 1 second attention span, right?
Yeah.
They give you 1 second on TikTok before they go. They were reading stories that were 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Reading stories that were 10 minutes.
So if your idea has power, go for it.
Go for it. Don't limit yourself to saying, "Oh, I just want to write." If you want to be in the writing space and creative world, think outside the box and understand where the opportunities are. Go find them and then go get the money to make that happen.
Let's talk about ghostwriting a little deeper.
Mm-hmm.
How do writers approach people who need ghostwriting? So they have no connections, let's say.
Yeah.
They just have a LinkedIn account,
Mm-hmm.
an Instagram account which has 200-300 followers, nothing more.
Mm-hmm.
How do they approach?
I would tell them start on LinkedIn. Let's get very specific. I would say start on LinkedIn. If you can, I would tell them invest a little bit of money in LinkedIn Premium.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that. Once you get LinkedIn Premium, it gives you the power to message people that you normally won't take messages, right? That's the first thing it does. But then what it also gives you, it learns the type of people that you want to message. So you could filter it and say, I want to message CEOs working in this industry, blah, 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 blah. You could filter it as detailed as you want. Once you filter it as detailed as you want, they produce, every week they give you, I believe it's over 100 different people, right?
Every week.
Every week. As a very simple exercise, go through all 100 of those people and just message them. Everyone, whether they fit you or not, just to start off, right? I'm saying because you said you start off from zero.
Mm-hmm.
Just to start off, just go through the exercise and email everyone. That's 25 a day. You can do that. What that means is you need to come up with an email that is a template that you could use for every single person. Change the name, change the beginning, whatever, but the rest of the email is the exact same.
Then if you want to write your story, you want to tell your story about,
exactly.
how you got successful, how you started business.
Exactly.
I am here to help you out.
Yes, exactly. Template,
Okay,
Pitch.
5 points that should be there in this email.
Qualify yourself. So say that you are like you've done whatever writing.
You have done
you've
this
Yeah,
writing.
you've done that.
You cannot say, of course, if you have done ghostwriting, you cannot name
Yeah,
projects,
you can't name the person.
but you
no.
can say I have done 10 projects.
Exactly.
or something.
So this part gets tricky. So I'm a little hesitant to say this part, but I think you should also put something in there that shows that you understand the other person's industry. You know, so so this is where the one line could be different. Do some research on that person and say like, I've seen that you've taken your company public in the last 5 years, 2 months, or something like that. Something to show that you're paying attention to what they're doing, right?
Attention to the details of that person.
Yes, exactly. That's important.
Your email has to be a template,
Yeah.
but it should look personalized to that person.
Yes, exactly, right? So now you're qualified. Now they see that they're paying attention to what I'm doing, so they understand me a little bit. Then it's a matter of just asking, tell them what you want to do and being very clear. Like, I want to help you tell your story, blah 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 blah. Right? Super clear. This has to happen in one paragraph.
Everything.
You have one, sometimes 2 paragraphs. And when I say, I'm only saying 1 paragraph because I mean, my paragraphs are short. So I have 2 very small paragraphs when I do this.
Like 5 lines each.
Yeah.
Or something.
Short. And three lines each.
Oh.
2 short. You have to be very quick.
Because they don't have time.
They don't have time. They just want to, so you do that.
So you have to put your monetary benefits in there itself? Or no?
No, you don't put the price in the first email. No price in the first email. Usually you get to what your goal is my ask. I'll tell you very specifically. My ask, can we get on a call to talk more? Because you want to close. This is business
Once they
now.
agree to it,
Yeah.
you can, even if you are planning 20,000, you can end the deal in 10,000, but at least get a deal.
That's what I'm trying to say, right? But you can't do that. It's very difficult to do that through email or messages. You need to have the person feel your energy.
Oh, yeah.
So my ask is always, are you willing to get on a short call, on a short 15-minute conversation so I could tell you more about our service? Done. Out of 100, you'll get 10 people respond. Out of those 10 that respond, 8 will say yes, 8 will say no, 2 will say yes. The 2 yes, now what you have to be good at is closing. You have to be good at this. I know this sounds like business stuff, but it is. This is life. You have to be good at closing. So once you get those people on the phone, you better be practicing your pitch. Like, understand what you're going to get out of them. Understand what you're going to say before.
Okay, so now let's come to the phone call.
Yes.
What is 5 things again you're going to cover on the phone call?
Now, this is where you have to do the most research. When they get on the call, you have to know as much about them than they know about themselves. You have to.
Their profiles,
Their history,
front base, their business, their investments, everything. Their family, personal, everything.
Everything. If they have a cat, you better know their cat's name. Because when you talk to them, you have to pretend or get to the point where it feels like a personal conversation. Because people feel a lot more comfortable spending money with you if they feel like you're close to them.
And you're doing something that will benefit them.
Exactly. You're not, because really, the money is the final step. What they want to know is, do I trust this person? That's all you're trying to convey over the call. And
then once they trust you, money is something.
It's nothing. You can figure, because you could be like, payment plan. Pay me, if it's 25,000, pay me 10,000 now. We'll put you on a 3,000 a month payment plan. For a business person, that's nothing, right? But if they don't trust you, you never get to the money. Exactly. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you tell them. So the way to earn trust is to show them that you actually put the work in to know who they are. And you made this conversation casual. But then now, also too, once
very casual.
Very casual. Then they're going to ask you questions. Hey, so what does this cost? What's the time like? Blah, blah, blah. And then you could give those answers, right? But you already got personal. If they ask you those questions, they connected with you already. So they're asking this question now to be like, okay, like, what's this going to cost me? Once you get to that, then you're good. Here's another trick though. If you are not comfortable saying cost on the phone, say, I will send you an email
or something.
No. I will send you an email, a deck that will outline the cost and the process. I do that a lot. Because once they see it in the deck, then it's easier for them to make a decision. Easier for them to make a decision sometimes, right? Because, at least in my experience, I've never most of the time they don't say yes right on the phone. You know, they feel comfortable and they're good, but they
When
say
you give them enough time to think
yeah.
about it.
Then they come
Their
back and
personal
say,
space.
then they say yes. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to give them too much time. You know, if you tell them you're going to send them a deck with the information, you send it to them after you get off the phone call. Then you follow up with them 2 days later to make sure that everything is good because you want an answer within a week. That's your goal should
So
be.
that it's not delayed.
It's not too much time because the more time you start to think about it, their life takes over. These are busy people most of the time, right? So you want to.
And what should be there in the deck?
In the deck should be the price, what they're going to get with that price, and then also the process. So my process is we're going to do interviews first, then we're going to then I give you the outline of what the book's going to look like, then blah 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 blah, right? So that you give them the process, price, and then I also do in my decks. This is another cheat code. I'm giving away so many secrets. In my decks, I tell them why it's important that they write this book, their book. I say this is important because of this reason. You specifically need to write this book because of this reason.
What is the value this book will add in their own life?
Yeah, exactly, and in the lives of the people around them. And once they see that, then it's like, oh, well, wait, I have to write this book. It's not just important for me, blah blah. It's important because of this. Or if you're pitching a business person, you could say, think about all the speaking engagements that you go to because you did your research. You're like, you did about 15 speaking engagements last year. Imagine if at each of those speaking engagements you had 50 books there. You just sold 50 books on top of your speaking price. Now look at that, and now those 50 people are going to purchase your book and then leave and go tell one person that they like your book. You just made another 25 fans, right? So you pitch it to them like that. So that because they're business people, they care about numbers, right? Again, you have to do your research and know what excites people, what gets them alive, makes them feel good, you know? Yes. Right? And again, you have to do this within a short window. You want an answer within a week. Anything past that, I realize it becomes a no.
Okay.
You know, so you want to be able to, you send them the deck right away, you follow up in 2 days, you get the answer in 3 days. Done.
And if there's no answer after 2 days, then?
If there's no answer after 2 days, you wait till the week. So you wait till another 4.
You again email them.
Yeah, again, and then if they don't answer, then it's over. Typically it's over. You know. But I've also the other thing too is I don't pressure people too much as well. It's not like when I'm sending an email, I'm like, have you decided? Can you pay? My email's just like, hey, did you have any more questions? You know, I'm available if you have any questions. Blah blah blah. A lot of times they write back and say, maybe not now. Blah blah blah. I have engaged with customers or clients for 9 months, 10 months before they bought, right? Before they said, okay, I'm ready now. I've engaged with clients for 2 years before they said they're ready now.
They told you that not right now.
Yeah.
But you still followed up with them.
But I stayed every few months. I'll be like, hey, what's up? Blah,
How's everything going on?
How's everything going? I got one of my biggest contracts like that. Met him. He wasn't ready. Met him about a year or two before. He liked everything I said. We had a great conversation. We really connected. He wasn't ready to write the book yet, though. He's like, I'm just not ready. Kept in touch with him. Hey, how's life? Oh, I see you're doing.
And he was a business person?
He was like an influencer. He's an influencer, yeah.
And how big influencer is this person?
Oh, in the 300,000-400,000.
300,000-400,000.
Yeah,
okay.
He was pretty big. He's probably over $1 million now. But I'll stay in touch.
In Toronto.
Yes.
Okay.
Then after that, when I last messaged him, he's like, you know what? I'm ready now. 30,000.
Close the deal.
30,000. Right? Like you could. There's long game and short game.
One thing I'll ask you. One of my friends who is doing ghostwriting told me this one thing, that when you're starting off, just they know that you need it because it's your starting point. So just be frank. So the way of doing it can be different for you, for everyone else. But what she told me was, you can easily say them that, see, I know it'll help you a lot, it'll add value to you, but for me it is very important to do this project. I don't know what is the cost that you're going to, you can spare for this, but at any cost, I'm ready for it. Because I want this project.
You could take that route.
But because if you get that one project, that is a starting point.
It's a starting point. Yeah, absolutely.
And after that, you can at least ask the person this, permission that, can I show this project to someone else?
If you could do that, then I would say take that route. Yes, and also too, I don't encourage people to negotiate from a perspective of desperation. So even if you really need it, I think the negotiation is still all right. I'm saying it's $20,000, and if they get pushback on that, then you negotiate. You know, I don't negotiate. Now my price is my price now. But I'm saying if you're just starting out and you're saying it's
And
20,000,
how do you negotiate?
well, you have to have a bottom, right? A bottom figure. So I'm not
So let's
negotiating.
say you are putting 15,000 as
Yeah.
the price, and 10,000 is your bottom.
Yeah.
So how do you negotiate?
I would start off with the 15,000 still, and keep and push that. You only negotiate price though. This is I just the reason I'm a little bit hesitant is because most people are not negotiating price. It's not a cost thing for people when they're writing a book.
Yeah.
They want to write a book for
It's a feeling.
It's a passion they want to. If you ask 10 people if they want to write a book, 9 people are going to say yes. So they want to do it. It's usually the price is not the problem. What's usually the problem is timing. They don't know. I don't know. Like there's other factors that are preventing them from doing it. This time in my life.
One way good is that you should not even talk about the price.
That's what I'm
negotiate
saying.
at all.
That's what I'm saying. You're not necessarily negotiating the price. You're negotiating time. You're negotiating trust. You're negotiating the process. Like don't worry, I got you. Like what's gonna make this comfortable for you? Tell me. What do you need? Would you rather me interview? Would you rather me not interview this person and just interview you? Do you want to get your family in here to have a conversation with me? What would make this a little bit more easier for you to make sense? Do you rather do the interviews in person? I could fly to you and we could do the interviews for a week in person, right? Like, what is going to make it comfortable for you? Because a lot of times it's not price. Now, if it is price, then you have your bottom, which is, let's say it's 10,000, and I encourage you, do not write a book for less than 10,000. If that's your bottom, then you negotiate to that bottom, right? But if in my experience, it's very rare that people are negotiating price. They're negotiating trust. They just want to see if they can trust you and if you can deliver, because they already want to do this. They already want to write a book. That's why they got on a call with you. They already want to write the book. So if they already want to write it, the only thing that's stopping them from writing it is like, are you the right person to write this for me? And that's what you're trying to prove to them.
Exactly.
I'm the right person to write this for you. That's it. So it's not a price thing. That's a trust thing. And that's why I said you start the conversation with casualness and with personality and with showing them that you understand their life. Because once you start there, then it takes off. It takes off. It's a different conversation. To be honest, I rarely negotiate price. I tell them up front, like, this is going to be an investment. Like, it's going to cost you a lot of money. It does. Like, now I can say that because I'm much more confident now. I'm like, I spoke to the person yesterday. I'm like, this is going to cost a lot of money. I'm just telling you right now. But here's what you're going to get from this. And then it's not. The guy didn't flinch at the price. I told him the price. He didn't even no mention of it. He's like, okay, so the next thing is I want you to talk to my mother because she's the one that has the story. Nothing about. He didn't even flinch, right?
Because you were very confident.
I was already confident. He's the one who actually reached out to me because again, I'm in a little bit of a different position now, so I get people reaching out to me. He reached out to me, so he's ready. Exactly. It's just like, are you the right person? That's it. And once I prove to him that I'm the right person, then that's a deal closed. I expect to close that deal by July.
Thank you very much for being with us at Mug Talks. I think audience will love it.
I hope so.
From the bottom to signing with Penguin again, we have Kern with us.
Thank you. This was
Thank
great.
you for coming. Thanks a lot.
So much fun, my friend.
Thank
so much
you very
fun.
much.
Thank you.